Hello and welcome back if you've been here before, or welcome if this is your first time to my channel. This is Blue Stocking Broad, which is me, or Kim. Either one is good with me. And welcome to my channel where I talk about whatever I want, but my main interests are like history, society, culture. Also love a bit of, occult, kind of mystical, magical things as well. Love folklore, all of that. We'll be discussing that with spooky season coming up. But anyway, with this video today, I'm going to kind of continue along the lines of merging my two loves, which is history and tarot, because next Thursday, I will be teaching a class in person. So if you live in like the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, I was going to say era because I was talking about history. If you live in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, you can come attend the class in person at the Hedge. It's on the 14th at 7 o'clock. I'll put a little thing here. Also include the link, I guess, in the description. Yeah, I could do that. Anyway. So with this, it's just kind of, so I took a break from doing tarot for a bit, and this is to kind of help me get back in the swing of things, because it's been a minute, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to bring you along for the ride if you're interested. So I will be basically telling a story of someone from history this time with tarot cards. So this is a way to kind of maybe help if you're trying to learn, or you're interested. A lot of us, we know to pull one card a day and kind of meditate on it and whatnot. We do know all those things, but like sometimes interpreting the cards to the action or the person or the narrative can be where things get tricky. So basically, I'm just going to do that for you and tell you a little story about someone from the past. So let's get started with our star of this video, and that is Mary, Queen of Scots. Oh yes, her life was full of events. She's very notorious, very, there's a lot of interesting things that happen in her life that kind of get like, she has a lot of, I guess, like sound bites or like fun facts, because her life was so filled with drama and intrigue and love and marriage and politics and stuff and religion. So we're just going to kind of touch on those highlights through the cards and tell her story. So let's get started, shall we? So, if you don't already know, tarot was started around the 14th century in Italy, and it was initially just a card game that people would play in salons, in, fancy drawing rooms, and manor homes, and royal courts and things. So, it's basically a card game for fun, and then it kind of gets the divination, occult status as the decades and centuries roll on. So, sorry, this is the second time I've filmed this video, and so my voice is kind of, anyway, also the allergies here are kicked up quite a bit. Anyway, so I wanted to pick a card that kind of denotes like her personality, kind of her theme, who she is, with this reading. And I am using the Antique Anatomy deck. If you would like to know, it is one of my favorites. I use it frequently when I'm doing readings in person and things like that. I love it. So I'm picking the Queen of Cups for her kind of archetype card. And I picked another queen initially, but I think Queen of Cups is more fitting for her, given the waves she's had to ride through her life. I think it's a little more appropriate. So the Queen of Cups is usually, so cups as a suit is the water element. So it deals with feelings and emotions and intuitiveness, also empathy, compassion. So it's the feeling card, but it also with cups could allude to love, marriage, things like that. And love and marriages are a big factor in Mary's life. So to me, she is the Queen of Cups, who is also very deeply rooted in her faith as well. Like cups are, again, it's emotions. It's what makes you, what gets you in your feels. So a bit of basics here. Mary was born December 8th, 1542, so Sagittarius. She reigned, I put in my notes, from 1542 to 1567. So I put question marks because she was born in 1542 and yet considered a monarch, basically, in 1542 because her father, King James V, died when she was like a week old. So with him dead, her mother, Marie de Guise, now I'm going to do my best to try to keep the Marys and the Maries, doing my best here, but there's a lot of that. Mary's mother was Marie, or some people do call her Mary de Guise. She comes from a notable aristocratic French family. Mary has very influential uncles. This is a highly Catholic family, so they were deeply ingrained with the religion, the order of the religion of the day, which is Catholicism, and politics. And she also has some half-siblings that are also like in the Scotland peerage and stuff, because James V, well, he was a king, you know, and he enjoyed himself. Okay, so I'm going to get to the card pulling, and there's a lot of things that happen in Mary's life that we could get to most of them, maybe, or at least a few of them. Ooh, one fell out. Sometimes if cards fall out, you can read them or not. It's completely up to you. I like to keep them as a thought, because it might help inform me on how to interpret them. But it's totally up to you if you want to read them or not. There are no rules really when it comes to like card reading and stuff. It's just based on you and how you feel comfortable doing it. So you don't have to, there's no real major rules about it. It all depends on you and what you want to accomplish with it. So but I will keep it over here to kind of help talk about this enigmatic, drama-filled monarch and her tumultuous life. Okay. Okay, so I'll stop there for now. So just to let you know, the 3 of coins or pentacles fell out. So this pentacles, coins, it's interchangeable, usually deals with like earthly matters. It's assigned the element of earth. So it's stuff you usually have to do here. So it usually leads to like money, material wealth, you know, if you want a new home or a different job, it's material satisfaction, happy home, happy family, things like that. So with the 3 here, what makes me, how I would interpret that is, so you have, you know, obviously aces, 2s, and 3s. So aces is the self. The 2s are, you know, usually you and another person or like another factor involved. And then 3s can indicate like kind of a movement, grand or small, but multiple people involved. And this says to me that there were multiple actors involved in her life because she was fatherless at a week old. She is Queen of Scotland, but a baby. But she also has, she's betrothed to the future King of France, Francis II, the Dauphin, if you will. Or Dauphine is the feminine version. So her father dies. Her mother, Marie de Guise, hangs around in Scotland to rule as regent, to maintain order and to make sure that when Mary assumes the throne, all is well. So Marie de Guise is managing Scotland and sends Mary off to France to get educated at the French court, which is very different from the Scottish court. There's not much of a Scottish court as far as I know, or it's very different than what her mother envisions for Mary's personality, I guess. She wants her educated in France and grow up with her betrothed so they could just move into being married and ruling two nations together, really. And so with that, the other card I've pulled here is the Empress. I want to make sure this is the Empress, not the Emperor. Yes, so this is the Empress. So that is the third card in the Major Arcana deck. And the Empress, it's very fitting because it's like beauty and wealth and abundance. She goes to France, which is a very well-established like monarchy. Lots of, you know, they've won a lot of wars. They're like an old country who has been very, you know, valiant, and it's just a beautiful place. This idealized sort of chivalric royal court, if you will. And fun fact, Francis's mother is Catherine de Medici. So Mary, Queen of Scots, will have Catherine de Medici as her mother-in-law. And she takes pretty good care of Mary and Francis, and as far as we know, supportive. So, you know, but Catherine de Medici, I'm sure it wasn't smooth sailing initially. Or maybe it was. I don't know. But yes, so we have this card. So I would and that's how I would interpret that. Also, France has wealth. France can support her. France can give her a life, the life that she deserves as a royal person. So that's where she's going. All right, so Francis and Mary are very young when they get betrothed, obviously, and they grow up together and they get married as it was promised, as it was meant to happen. They're married for a couple of years, and poor Francis, about 2 years into the marriage, gets an ear infection and dies. So this is the Tower card. If you're familiar with tarot or the tarot card, it's not always pleasant to get that in a reading. And I always like to take a positive spin with it. Basically, the tower's crumbling. Like whatever you have built, however sturdy it was or not, is crumbling. It either is crumbling or will crumble. So usually it's like a warning card of saying, yeah, this is happening for a reason. It's not sustainable what you do anymore. Like it's just a full upheaval of your existence, of your thinking. It basically pulls everything to the ground where you have to rebuild. Francis, unfortunately, dying prematurely, shakes up Mary's world to the point where she's got to go home to Scotland, a very foreign home that she does not know at all, and going to a court that she does not know, being surrounded by people that she does not know. And she can't even speak the language with them, because this is a thing. This is a real bee in my bonnet when I see anything kind of Mary, Queen of Scots-ish, is that whoever plays Mary, they always have this Scottish accent. She would not have a Scottish accent. She would be French. She would have a French accent. She would be educated in French etiquette and culture and stuff. So it was, even though it was home, she's going to a foreign land. So when Mary goes back home, I mean, she's about 20 at the time, so she's an adult. But what does she need to do? She needs to find another husband, because that's what queens are good for, is getting married and birthing an heir. So Mary gets on the job and starts looking for her future husband, and she sets her sights on a guy called Lord Darnley. And reports are, and what most historians kind of say, that it was more lust at first sight than love at first sight, if you get my meaning. So Lord Darnley is this guy, the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is usually like a suitor or a potential kind of person you could date or whatever. It can indicate someone that has a crush on you, but also like because it's cups, it's emotions and things. So it doesn't always have to do anything with like love or anything like that, but it's usually attributed to that. And because it's cups, you know, and I always say with knights, whenever I'm giving a reading or talking about the knights, they move forward, they don't look back. They can be impulsive that way or very short-sighted, one goal, and they just keep going. The Knight of Cups, Lord Darnley saw that this could really work out for him if he were to marry Mary, and they get married, and it is not a whole happily ever after, to say the least, but did you think it would be? Anyway, lust at first sight, they decide to get married. She's pregnant, and she gives birth to a baby boy named James. Shocking, I know. And all is well, right? They have a queen who has just birthed a healthy boy, an heir. Everything looks like the succession's going to happen smoothly. All is well, except for this Knight of Cups is also a very, very jealous, hot-headed guy. So Lord Darnley is not well liked. I believe he's a big gambler and a big drinker. So he just enjoys the spoils and trappings of being a consort. I don't think he's called king, but he is the consort. And he just loves that role a lot. Well, he loves it too much. Mary, of course, being queen, had favorites at court, and she had a secretary named David Rizzio, who she was entertaining at her castle one day. I think they were having like a dinner or something. And Lord Darnley is just so obsessed with the fact that Mary is having private time with her secretary, but that is normal, I would think. But he hatches a plot to unalive this person. And with that, we have the Two of Swords. This could indicate like conspiracies and stuff. So the Two of Swords is kind of interesting with the two cards, because it's like usually twos have to do with like making a decision or deciding or something. But like the Swords is saying make a decision, but maybe you don't have all of the info. And with Mary not knowing that her husband was hatching a plot to unalive this person, that Two of Swords could indicate that. So that happens, and this poor David Rizzio is unalived. And Mary, like I said, her life is so filled with drama. Like this happened like in her castle. Like it happened. There wasn't like guards around or anything. I mean, I'm sure there were, but like this happened in front of her. Like this guy was unalived in front of her, and Lord Darnley could have had something to do with it. So with that, that did not sit well with Mary Queen of Scots, that whole thing. So people start getting very upset with Lord Darnley and like tired of his shit, basically. So someone comes along. This is the Page of Swords. Now the pages in the court cards are the child aspect. So it's the beginning of something again. But it's usually involved with a person, since it's court. So it's like pages, knights, that kind of thing. It is usually prescribed to a person, but it could denote energy too. But the Page of Swords is somebody who comes along and says to Mary, possibly, or the political people, and is like, hey, let's do away with old Lord Darnley. The Swords is of the mind, so, and this is a child, so this to me says somebody has a plan to put in place to enact. They came up with this idea, even though it's not a well-executed plan, but somebody has an idea of how to get rid of Lord Darnley, And what happens is basically they set off a bomb in the castle where Lord Darnley's staying. That's a bit iffy. So the bomb goes off, or the explosion goes off, and Lord Darnley is found outside of it with a noose around his neck. So that's what I know. Yeah, so he's found, like I said, unalived, and this page of blades, the person who we believe we assign blame to, either he takes credit or not, I don't know. It's the Earl of Bothwell, who is not a great guy, you know, but I guess has a, I don't know, very confident, I guess. And he, again, has another plan to marry himself to, I guess, protect her or something. Like, this is all like under, like, very cloak and dagger, like, no, it's like sketch, because we don't know how much autonomy Mary had through this whole thing. That's why I really want to give her like grace with that. But it's rumored that she also wanted Darnley to like get unalived, and like she could have been in love with this Earl of Bothwell. Like, no, it's a big ordeal thing. And so there's that. There's that caveat. But the Earl of Bothwell's like, hey, to protect you from, because everybody thinks you're the one that unalived Lord Darnley. Why don't you come with me and I'll protect you and blah, blah, blah. Or he just flat out abducted her. Anyway, they get married. Is it under coercion? Don't know. And she is pregnant. Supposedly she's pregnant with twins. But she does miscarry them, unfortunately. So this is why, like, her life is so filled, it's like a tabloid tale in a lot of ways. So it's very, like I said, there's this bit of gossip here and this speculation here, and then, you know, it's like, it's very hard to kind of really get definitive answers on Mary's point of view in this time, because it's not noted or anything. Let's see what some other cards say. All right, so, okay, we're going to do some, I'm pulling 3, and then I'm going to talk about them. All right, so we have the 6 of coins. 6 of coins is somebody looking for help. Like, you want a mentor, or you need some advice, or anything like that. If you need somebody to kind of help you along, it's asking for help in a way. So she's asking either Earl of Bothwell to help her, or, you know, that kind of thing. But Earl of Bothwell, so Earl of Bothwell makes an escape to the Netherlands, and Mary gets captured in Scotland, and she gets imprisoned because the death of Lord Darnley needs to be prosecuted. So they keep her, they imprison her. She busts out, I think twice, and she heads over to jolly old England, where her cousin, King Elizabeth I, she thinks, queen to queen, my cousin's going to help me out. So this could also be the 6 of coins. She's looking for something. So there is that. And when she goes to her cousin, is like, help me please, I don't know what to do. You know, I really want to just run my country, but my lords are upset, and like, yeah, this might have happened. They keep imprisoning me, and like, I'm an anointed queen. That's not okay. My birthright is to rule a nation. Like, you get it, Liz, right? And Liz is like, yeah, I get it, but guess what? My cousin was Lord Darnley, because it's all royals and they're all related. And she's like, I want to know what happened to my dear cousin. Did you do it, Mary? Yeah, Liz is like, why don't you be my guest in a castle far away while we deliberate on what actually happened to Lord Darnley? If you had nothing to do with it, great, but let's just keep you safe and keep you away from the chaos so we can really figure out how my cousin died. The Ace of Swords. Liz wants to know what happened. Who started it? Who were the conspirators? How did it begin? She wants answers, and she will get them. And it's also a sword, so she will exact justice either way for Mary. And, you know, if you're kind of familiar, you know where this is headed. So, like I said, Mary, Queen of Scots, very Catholic. Elizabeth I, not Catholic. Protestant-ish, maybe, Episcopal, I don't know, Church of England, all of that. That's still kind of gray, but she is not Catholic. And there are a lot of Catholic English folk who would love to have a Catholic queen on the throne again. So Mary's existence is actually a threat to Elizabeth's existence and reign. So it creates some friction between the Catholics in England having a martyr, basically, and they're against Elizabeth, who is the rightful Queen of England and who is ruling mostly, you know, as she wants. She's not married. She doesn't have any children. You know, she's the rightful queen at this time. So there's always this sort of, like, Mary always poses a threat to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth has some very keen advisors. Robert Cecil, Walsingham, you know, she has that spy ring that's going on. So, the Page of Cups is also here. And the Page of Cups, again, pages, so child, so beginnings. And again, feelings and things like that. So, we have somebody who is stoking a lot of either heavily Catholic feelings, really invigorating the people that have been maybe quiet and like keeping their mouths shut and just trying to like get through life because they're Catholic and they have like priest holes and they're holding like masses in their homes. This is Mary's like giving them a purpose and kicking up that kind of sentiment, and Elizabeth cannot have that. So the Page of Cups, with emotions, with faith, with belief, with all of that, she's kicking off this kind of movement, and Liz cannot have it. Let's pull some more cards and see what they will tell us. God, Mary, you're going to take up my whole deck here. Yep, okay. Sounds about right. So, we have the Seven of Cups. This is basically options. You got a lot of options. You don't know which one to pick. It could be precarious. It could be, you know, not really what you want. It speaks to choices, but also speaks to like delusions and illusions. Like, what is really meant for you? What is the right thing to choose? Or what are you tempted to choose? That kind of thing. And while she's a guest of Elizabeth in Fotheringay Castle, Fotheringay Castle, I think. I'll put it up here. She's been there for 19 years. Okay, so the advisors that Elizabeth have decide to kind of hatch a plot, try to catch Mary in the act. Like, is she actively conspiring against Elizabeth? They really want to know. They're not sure. Mary's playing it cool for now. Because also Mary's thinking, well, Elizabeth's older than me. I'm a lot younger and prettier. Like, I still have time. Like, she has, what, maybe 10, 15 years left. If I just play it cool, I could probably be Queen of England as well. So Mary is trying to juggle a lot of things and is probably really trying to weigh her options. And unfortunately, she does get involved with a plot. One plot in particular, the Babington plot. It's a lot of coded messages and things like that. But ultimately, Elizabeth's advisors catch her in something, catch her in this plot, you know, writings back and forth, like I said. And with that, I pulled the High Priestess card. High Priestess is a spiritual card. It speaks to intuition, old knowledge, like that inner knowing, accessing that. But it also speaks to secrets. Like, she was playing it, she was on the down low. She was keeping her cards close to her chest because she didn't know which way the wind was blowing. Unfortunately, Elizabeth finds out about this Babington plot, and her advisors are like, listen, Liz, you can't let her live. Like, you can't, she's too much of a threat. She's too much of an avatar or a martyr for these English Catholics. Like, they're never going to quit. You will always feel threatened. You will never feel safe. You can never just rule, you know, without thinking of the possibility of being overthrown or being unalived. Like, that will always be in the back of your mind. So I'm sorry, she can't really continue on. And her advisors push her to sign this death warrant for Mary, and there's a big to-do with it. Nobody really, there's a myth around it, like Elizabeth like delays it and puts it off and doesn't want to sign it. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're asking me to kill my cousin. You know, supposedly they hide the warrant under some papers and are like, Liz, you need to sign these. And she just signs it, not realizing it's a big thing. And who knows? Elizabeth had a flair for the dramatic, I will say. But, yeah. So her warrant is signed. And there we have the end. The end of Mary. The world here is the 22nd card in the Major Arcana. So it's the final card of Major Arcana. And it just indicates a culmination, an end of a cycle, the end of a relationship, the end of a job. Like, everything has happened as it should. So time to move on. But it can also indicate deaths. So her world is ending. So, February 8th, 1587 is her execution date. What I find kind of interesting, because I kind of get interested in numbers and symbols and stuff, is that she's born on an 8 and then she is executed on an 8. Just like to throw that out there. Her execution is fraught with problems. It is not pretty. I mean, would it be? No, but like, it's even more so. I think it took 11 hacks with a dull, blunt axe, unfortunately. So, she wore red, which is the color of Catholic martyrdom. She also had a wig, and so that flew off. She also had a small dog under her dress, so people freaked out when the dog was darted out of her dress. Like, it was filled, of course, perfect with Mary, filled with drama, intended or not. But yeah, so unfortunately, that's the end of her story. To be fair, I have a hard time with her. I can give people a lot of grace and stuff in history. Like, there are problematic people I like, and I understand that and stuff. Like, I do get it. But like, with her, I have a hard time kind of embracing her in a way. And I can't really figure out why, because I do feel for her. I feel that she was a pawn. I feel like she was a tool for a lot of people to manipulate with. And, you know, she was surrounded by men who were telling her what to do. And she was probably conditioned to listen to men. That's the thing. That's what sucks, is like, maybe if she was given the kind of upbringing that Elizabeth had, where she was basically fighting for her life a lot of the time, but didn't grow up with this sort of insistence on listening to your husband and blah, blah, blah. So I kind of think Mary was a victim of her upbringing in this sense. And also the fact that Scotland wasn't her native land. Like, she just did not know how things operated there. So I just feel like she's just an unfortunate victim, and it sucks. And I feel bad for her in that respect. But her son does go on to become the King of England as well, King James the Sixth or First, depending on how you want to look at it. James the First of England, and then James the Sixth of Scotland. So, yeah. So in the end, did she really get what she wanted? No, but her son reaped the rewards of it. He is strictly Protestant. Like, he absolutely does not take to Catholicism at all. So he kind of helps solidify the Protestant way in England. So I'm sure Liz was cool with that. But anyway, that's all I got to say about Mary. What do you think about this? What, do you disagree or agree with these cards? If you pull cards for yourself, I'd love to know what you think. I think it's really good to get a good kind of foundation for how people read cards. You know, everybody does it differently. So I think learning from others can only help, like, your own kind of vocabulary or foundation when you're pulling cards. So if you have any thoughts yourself, or anything you want to add, or a person that you'd like to see their lives told through the cards, please comment, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it at least informative, educational, entertaining, maybe. I don't know. But please like, share, and subscribe, and comment for the algorithm. Click the notification bell if you want to know when I upload next. I don't know if I'm going to do, I might do a couple more tarot ones, but then I might get back to, like, talking about history, cultural stuff. I'm not sure. But please stay tuned, watch this space, and I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy yourself, and I will see you next time. Farewell. Bye-bye.